Hi everyone, it's Ashton, aka the Outspoken Oracle, and I am back with another tarot reading for you today. Please keep in mind that tarot readings are for entertainment purposes only. Please just think of me as your bestie who is here with a little bit of advice, as with information from your best friend. You take some, you leave some. Please only use what resonates with you. Use your discernment always. Okay, so I am going to be starting a new series today. It's going to be a series of tarot readings surrounding archetypes. And yeah, this is what I was told that I need to be doing. So we're going to see how this actually goes, because I honestly don't know how this is going to turn out. And the first archetype that I have been led to share about is the Madonna whore complex. And so this one's going to be a little bit complicated because I actually am going to do this in a 3-part series. The first is going to be going over the Madonna aspect of the complex. The second is going to be going over the whore part of the complex. And the third is going to be going over just some information for men who tend to have problems with this Madonna whore complex. So that being said, this video is going to be about the Madonna. However, I'm going to be going over the overall idea of what the Madonna whore complex is really quickly before I get into this reading. But so the Madonna whore complex is it is a coin turned by Freud in regards to the fact that basically men oftentimes want women that are going to be their wives and the mother of their children to be pure and, you know, docile and kind of follow the rules and, you know, just fit into this box where they don't paint outside the lines. You know, not a lot of sexual partners, if any, somebody who dresses the part where they don't attract the attention from men outside of them, in their lives, somebody who they see as somebody who would be a good mother or wife in terms of their abilities to partake in quote unquote nurturing aspects in terms of like cooking and cleaning and things of that nature, but that they don't grab a lot of attention and that they have not been defiled by multiple men. Versus the whore, which is what a man desires, and that a man will sleep with somebody who is a whore, but they won't take them home to mom. They won't marry them. Somebody who they can explore all their sexual desires with, somebody that they can have fun with in the bedroom, somebody that they can, you know, just really let loose with. And oftentimes with this Madonna, with this whore, the whore is a person who is able to see this man's darker side, but it is a side that they don't let their wife see, because their wife is somebody who is in their heads, who is pure, and in their purity, they cannot see the darker aspects of this man. And a lot of this stuff with this Madonna whore complex is rooted in the Oedipus complex, in which we are, you know, we tend to go after people that represent the opposite sex of what we are. So for these men, they try to go after people that remind them of their mother, and because they put their mother on a pedestal and kind of, you know, make them into this higher being, the person who is like their mother cannot be sexualized in that way. And so my personal thoughts on this is that oftentimes people that happen to have this Madonna whore complex tend to cheat on their wives because they are not being sexually satisfied in their relationships. And so this is a problem. That being said, I am going to get into, okay, so that all being said, I am going to kind of go over why it's important for us as females to integrate both the Madonna and the whore aspects into our personalities, and to try not to fit into one dichotomy, because in this life there is duality, and we can be both at the same time. You can be a good wife and a good mother and also be a fully sexual being who enjoys sexual pleasure and, you know, who gets attention without stepping out of the relationship. I really do think that a lot of cheating that happens in relationships comes because of this Madonna whore complex. And this goes for both men and women, honestly, because you have people who are sexually starved and deprived in their relationships, and they're going to have to find it somewhere. And so this is something that needs to be healed in society. And so we're going to be going over these archetypes. So first, in this video, part 1, I'm going to be going over the archetype of the Madonna and how we might go about healing this Madonna aspect within us if this is a archetype that you associate with. So for starters, if you associate with the Madonna, you oftentimes will view yourself as a pure being. You oftentimes have had no, if very little sexual partners. If you have been divorced, oftentimes like your ex was probably your only or one of 2 or 3 sexual partners. A lot of times you follow the rules of, I never call a man first. I will wait for them to contact me. Like, you follow the traditional dating rules in life to not seem too eager, to not seem as if you are easy, like the no kissing on first dates sort of rules, things of this nature. There is a sense of remaining pure a lot of times with the people that are in this Madonna mind frame. You are pretty vanilla in the bedroom and don't explore outside of what vanilla sex is, because it is seen as something that is unpure, because a lot of times your mindset around sex involves sex for the sake of, you know, procreation. And it might be more than just that, but at the same time, there a lot of times is a lot of sexual scrupulosity that is inherent in your mindset. I do think that with certain religions, it does teach a lot of sexual scrupulosity and, you know, purity to a point where sex is not seen as something that should be enjoyed. And so doing things that are outside of the norm of vanilla sex just does not feel natural, normal to you. And one way that you can see if this is something that you identify with is if I were to say, I want you to call yourself a whore right now. I want you to call yourself a whore. I want you to call yourself a prostitute. I want you to say that you're easy. I want you to say that, you know, you like sex and you would be okay with having multiple sexual partners. I would like for you to put yourself in the position of trying, envision yourself as having sexual acts that might be considered taboo and see how you feel. If it feels gross in your body, if it feels icky in your body, if it feels just super uncomfortable in your body, then this might be the archetype that you fit into, the Madonna archetype. In which case, now, and this is going to be the part where it gets kind of interesting because I don't exactly know what I'm doing here. I just know that God wanted me to do this archetype. And so I'm going to try to figure out how I'm going to go about this. I'm going to pull some cards. I'm going to pull some cards in regards to how you are viewed and how this view of you is actually limiting for you. And then after I do that, I'm going to pull some cards about how you can heal this archetype so that you can become a more full and integrated version of yourself. All right, so angels, guides, ancestors, please assist me with this reading. Please help to give me insight into the questions I seek answers to, protecting me from any negative entities that might try to interfere on this reading and give me false information. Please speak truth and honesty to me through the cards. Give me insight of the highest good for everyone involved. And as always, thanks for showing up each and every day. All right, Spirit. So what did I just say that I was going to pull cards for? Did I say how you are viewed in this archetype and how this might be detrimental to you in terms of your wholeness as a human being? That's basically what I'm doing. Yeah. All right. So Spirit, Holy Spirit, please help to give me some insight into how people who fit into this Madonna archetype are viewed and how this is limiting to them experiencing a wholeness within themselves. Please give me some insight into how people who fit into this Madonna archetype are viewed and how this is limiting for them to experience a wholeness within themselves. Spirit, please give me some insight into how people who fit into this Madonna archetype are viewed and how this is limiting to them experiencing a wholeness within themselves. Holy Spirit, please help me with this question. That's too many. Holy Spirit, please help me with this question. Madonna archetype, please, Spirit. Okay, yeah. I'm not surprised that came out first. Oh, yeah, nope, yeah. I am picking up on a lot of energy about, like, those of you that fit into this Madonna archetype. It is a lot of how you are viewed is based on your desire to be viewed this way. It is very much a personal desire to be viewed in a certain way. But with this Chariot here, I'm getting very much like you view as it that being the Madonna creates this sense of forward mobility for you in terms of fulfilling your role as a female, in terms of becoming a wife, becoming a mother, and becoming a homemaker. I feel like a lot of you guys actually are within like the traditional realms of being a female wife, whatever. Not always, but a lot of you guys will fall into that realms. But it's like you feel as if being the archetype of the Madonna will get you further in life in terms of what you consider to be successful in life, aka fitting into these traditional roles of a female, aka a wife and a mother and a homemaker, all these other things. And so this is your access to forward mobility. This is how you view yourself a lot of the times, not always, but a lot of the times, especially if you're intentionally within this Madonna archetype. But also this is how men view you as well. They see you as when they are ready to settle down, you are going to be the one who is going to help them to create this image for themselves, to be the husband, the provider, and the father. Because as we know, in terms of a man's career in general, married men tend to do better in business. And so having a wife by their side is going to help that. And if their wife is somebody who they can bring around their people, that is obedient, that can have conversations that don't go off course, that can do this, that, whatever, that makes them appear seemingly okay and trustworthy, then that's where they're going to see you as somebody that can help to further their lives and their careers. I am hearing right now, and I hate this, I'm hearing right now that for those of you who, and it is coming through, like a lot of you guys feel this way, and a lot of this is coming through as how men view you too, that once people are solidified and stable in the careers, a lot of times this is when they tend to leave this Madonna for something else, because they have enough clout and enough stability where they don't need that appropriate person by their side to make them look good. So it's like this forward trajectory, like this only works up into a point for you, but that you serve a purpose. But like I'm very much getting like you are very much placed in a box. You are like that doll that you purchased as a collector's item and you don't take out of the box. It doesn't get to experience the fun of the dolls that you actually play with, but it's just there because it's supposed to hold a certain value and a certain bit of worth. But then, 20 years down the line, you realize that you invested in something that actually doesn't actually hold any value anymore to you. And with this Knight of Pentacles here, yeah, that's very much what I'm getting. Like you're put on the shelf. You are purchased and then you're put on the shelf. And this Knight of Pentacles here, it's like, okay, I know that this person is going to be here for me and I know this person is stable, but like, this is not the person that you are going to have the action and the fun with. In terms of the Knights are the ones that tend to have a little bit more fun in terms of the suits. To me, they are very much about the action of life. They get to experience more action and more fun. And the Knight of Pentacles out of all of them is the least fun knight because they're doing things by the book. But with this Knight of Pentacles in reverse here, I'm very much getting the energy is that you're doing things by the book, but you're doing things by the book. The longer that you do things by the book, it feels like you're not getting anywhere. You might start to feel like if you are in a relationship, that the relationship loses its spark over time if it had any to begin with. Especially if you guys were in a relationship, if it was the first person you ever had sex with, if you got married really young, things of that nature. Like this might also be the case of that, but like it loses its spark. You start to question, like, am I doing things right? Did I do things right? What am I missing? These are things that you question. And while at the same time, your partner is questioning, why did I settle with this person? Because it feels very much like settling, but not in a settling where growth is happening, but in a settling where, like, I cut myself short by being with this person. And it is very much, with this Nine of Pentacles in reverse, I'm picking up on a lot of resentment energy that is here. And even further down, I see the Six of Wands and the Ace of Wands here. They're in reverse. There's not a lot of Wands energy that's already on the board. And what is here is in the reverse, which is making me feel like they're like the sex life ends up being less and less if there is any at all. Because again, you are not seen as somebody that is exciting and fun in their life. You just seem like somebody that is there to serve a role. Like you don't get to have the fun. You're not, yeah. The magic is lost. This Magician in reverse is very much giving me like the magic is lost within your relationship over time. As things progress and move forward, if they feel like they're progressing at all, I'm not picking up that you, in the initial stages of the relationship, you are somebody that can propel this person forward. You feel like it is propelling your life forward as you feel like it should move in your life. But then things get stagnant and the magic is lost because it only works up until a certain point. Because when you are viewed as this person that is pure, then there's not as much fun in the places that fun need to be have. And to be completely honest, sex is very important in relationships. So if you're not having fun sex, or if you're not having sex at all, or very little sex, then your partner is going to get tired and bored, where you might get tired and bored too. When people leave a sexless marriage, it can happen on both sides. But you initially do work as somebody who fulfills the aspects that allow a person to feel like they are fulfilling their certain standards in their life, and they're checking the boxes of what they should be doing at certain ages for themselves. But the thing of it is, again, going back to here, this Eight of Swords, you are putting yourself in a box by being this Madonna, and others are putting you into this box where you only fulfill a certain role. But it's mostly you putting yourself there because you refuse to step out of this box and show the different aspects of yourself. Because the thing of it is, we are all sexual beings. But sometimes it's important for you to initiate sex in a relationship. It's important for you to take the lead. It's important for you to do all these other things. And while you wait for your husband or significant other to do these things, then you put yourself in the box. And then that leads to things getting boring. That leads to the magic being gone. With this Four of Wands here, you put yourself in a box because you feel like it's going to make you be more celebrated as a person. You feel like that's exactly who you need to be to get to that place. With this Four of Wands, it's very much getting like husband and wife things. You feel like by being this person, by putting yourself in a box, that you get to be celebrated. You get to be revered. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm this, I'm that. Oh, I know I can give advice because I got married. I've been married longer than you. Okay, you've been married. I'm not married yet, but then you're giving advice to how to have a relationship, but your relationship is sexless, or you have minimum sex, or you're worried that your spouse is cheating on you, or you're starting to have an emotional relationship with somebody else. Y'all, I'm so sorry. I feel like this is getting a little bit mean, but I call myself the outspoken oracle for a reason. This is literally what's coming through to me, and I do apologize because I feel like this is like a little bit harsh. I don't like it, but this is what's coming through to me. But yeah, it's like you're fulfilling a role, but by fulfilling this role, you are putting yourself into a box, and it is not a box that takes you very far. It might take you far at first, but after a while, that all fizzles out. Because you are then typecasting yourself a little bit. And then what seems to be blissful and happy then turns into work that you are willing to put up with for a certain amount of time. But with this Nine of Wands, what comes after the Nine of Wands is the Ten of Wands, which feels like a lot of burden. And so while you are willing to put in the work and try to make things work, eventually this becomes burdensome, and eventually the burden will have to be put down. There is a reason why 50% of marriages end in divorce. Okay, there really is. You have to represent more than just being the wife and the mother. But in the eyes of your partner, that's what you seem like at first. But then because they only see you as that, then they take away the sexual aspect of you as a person. And then it becomes very much a roommate situation. The attraction goes down. And without sex, I'm sorry, like, sex is very important. Unless you are asexual, sex is very important. There's very few asexual people out there. And so then this once fantasy feels more like a burden. But it's like with the Seven of Swords, you are putting on a show by being this pure, virginal, one-dimensional person, because we are dualistic individuals. You can be more than just this. You are putting on a show by showing up as this pure, virginal, wife-like creature, when actuality, there is a darker side to you. There's a darker side of you that wants to come out, that's begging to come out. There is a reason why 50 Shades of Grey was such a popular book and movie, because the people, even if they have not expressed this to their significant others, want more than that. However, it is hard for your partner to view you as somebody who wants to partake in those sorts of activities, because then it ruins their idea of who you are as a person, who is like this perfect, pure person who reminds them of their mother. And the problem with that is, by them thinking about their mother, they don't think about their mother as being a sexual creature, besides maybe the 1, 2, 3, 4 times that they had sex in order to conceive them and their siblings. But by being this false version of yourself, by allowing other people to see you as this false version of yourself, by not allowing this darkness to come out, you are doing yourself a disservice with this Justice card in reverse. And there creates a lack of balance within your relationship. And by having this lack of balance, it really does just mess everything up. Because it's hard to restore balance once you've been put into a box, but it's a box that you allowed yourself to be put in here. You allowed yourself to be put into that box because you weren't able to, or you chose not to show the multifaceted parts of yourself, because you wanted to have this trajectory into this place of being this wife and this mother. And the thing of it is, you get there and then you realize, like, this is not how I thought it was going to be. This is not how I thought it was going to feel. And at the same time, your partner feels the same way. And your partner is like, I'm not getting what I want. I have all these other desires and all these other things, but I can't do that with my spouse. And with this Nine of Swords here, I'm very much picking up that you and your spouse will end up trying your hardest to get rid of the anxiety surrounding, like, your sexual life. And whether it's like you might just accept, okay, well, you or the other person might just accept, okay, I guess sex is something that's off the table here, like, we're not going to have. You might then find another partner to have sex with, or your person might find another partner to have sex with. But I guarantee that the person that your partner's finding to have sex with, by releasing the burden surrounding sex, is going to be somebody who is doing sexual activities that you refuse to do, that is doing sexual activities that are fun to them, that is, like, outgoing, somebody that they can actually be their real selves with. Because while you are being fake, they are also being fake. Again, they don't feel like they can give you access to their darker side, because you are this pure person, their wife, their mother, the mother of their children. They can't allow you to see this darker side of them, because that would take away your purity. But then y'all choose to relieve the stresses surrounding this by seeking things outside of yourself. And there's a huge lack of honesty here. First, a lack of honesty by you not being the fully embodied version of yourself, but then a lack of honesty about you not saying what it is that you need to say in regards to what you need in the bedroom. But even worse than that, with the lack of honesty, is a judgment that comes for if your partner or spouse wants to try something different in the bedroom, it is this judgment that will push them away onto something different. If your partner says, hey, I have this sexual desire, I would like to try it out, and you decide that, no, that's not what I do, that's gross, I don't want to do that, then good luck staying in that marriage. That's all. Like, I hate that I'm saying that, but that's very much what is coming across to me, is that this is what pushes them away, is an inability to actually be able to be dynamic and change and be open to new things when it comes to sex in your marriage. With this Page of Swords here, it's very much giving the energy that you have to be open to listening and learning new things without having your guard up. This page has its sword down. Oftentimes, Page of Swords have their swords up and their guard is up. This one's saying you need to be more open and have your guard down and not necessarily feel as if this is something that you needed to fight off. The new things that you're learning, these new possibilities and options don't need to be things that you fight off, because by fighting them off, then you are being the ice queen. Nobody wants to be with the ice queen. You once were a free-flowing person that had access to things up until a point. Then the magic was lost because you're sitting here being the ice queen. A man doesn't want to be iced out. Most men, their love language is physical touch. If you're not being physical with your spouse because you want to ice them out about their ideas, about what they want to do in the bedroom, good luck keeping them. Good luck keeping them, because they are seeing you as somebody who doesn't desire them, who doesn't love them. Who's not willing to be, with the Three of Pentacles in reverse, who's not willing to be an equal partner, who's not willing to collaborate with them, who's not considering their needs and what they need to make things work, who's not wanting to have a sort of cooperation, who's not even willing to have a conversation, honestly. You need to be open and not just shut things down, because you might actually enjoy it. At least if you show some effort and then discuss how you felt, then things might be able to be adjusted in a certain way. But you have to be honest and open and communicate. Because ultimately what happens from this being the person that once was the person that propelled life forward through the steps, you then get to this place where both of you guys are feeling as if you guys are losing, and that what you had is not something that's worth celebrating, where things don't feel like you are in a victorious relationship, where things feel like things are old and stale. And whether it's you or your partner, somebody more than likely will end up stepping out of this relationship because the needs will not be met. Because both of you guys are not being honest about what it is that you need in the bedroom. Both of you guys are not being honest about what you're okay with. The communication is not there. But you want to maintain this image of being this pure virginal wife and a mother, while you are way more multifaceted than that. And then you both end up losing. With this King of Pentacles in reverse and this, I don't know who Arthur Edward Wade is. That's just, I think that's the person that made this deck. I don't know why I just pulled that out. We're not doing that one. Let me pull another card. Yeah. With this King of Pentacles in reverse and this Death card, I'm very much getting the energy that, like, you start by realizing that your marriage is nothing to celebrate, even if you show things outwardly differently. Stability is lost within your relationship. You feel unstable. You feel like you're going crazy because you're like, how can I make this work? But this all happens because of your lack of ability to transform. You have to be willing to transform and be more different. Even if you enter into a relationship being this Madonna, at some point you are going to have to transform, even if it's little by little, in order for there to still be a certain level of excitement and a certain dynamic that maintains growth in the relationship. With this Ace of Wands, it's like, I'm hearing that song, The thrill is gone. The thrill is gone away. The spark is completely gone. You will lose the spark if you maintain this Madonna presence in the life of your partner, of your spouse. Some people, I'm not saying that everybody's going to go outside the marriage and cheat, but the thing of it is that you guys will end up being unhappy. The thrill's going to be gone on both ends. There's going to be a lack of satisfaction, and very much by being this Madonna, you won't be the person that wants to initiate a divorce. You won't be the person who's going to want to end the marriage. But with this Tower here, it's showing that it's going to happen. You won't be the one to do it, in which case you're going to feel like you are bombarded and surprised, when in actuality, if you look at your marriage as a whole, the writing was on the wall the entire time. You have to change and adapt, or things have to be over. And that's what I'm getting. As soon as the spark is completely gone and there's no coming back, then big old Tower moment. Things fall apart, and then you suddenly feel surprised. And with this Nine of Cups coming on at the end, I'm picking up very much like all of this could have been avoided had you been honest about what it is that you wanted in the relationship. If you had been honest about who you were as a person. But you have to be able to view yourself as multifaceted in order to get to this place. Because all of your wishes can come true in a relationship, but you have to be able to be dynamic and have to be willing to evolve and grow and change. But you can get everything without things falling apart, but you have to be willing to transform if you show up in the relationship initially as the Madonna. Because the Madonna, although the Madonna might get the man, the Madonna oftentimes won't keep the man. Okay? Because the person who wants the Madonna also has other wishes that need to be fulfilled. Okay. So next with this, I am going to pull some cards about how to heal out of this Madonna archetype in order to integrate the whore a bit more. All right. Spirit, how does a Madonna heal out of the Madonna archetype so that they can be integrating the whore a bit more to become a more dualistic person? How does the Madonna integrate the whore a bit more into the person they are so that they become more dualistic as a person? I'm only going to pull 3. Okay. Okay, with the 6 of Cups here, I'm very much getting like you need to be willing to have more fun. Oftentimes, a person appears as a Madonna because they are unwilling to step out of the box and enjoy themselves and have some fun. You need to think about what is fun to you and be open to having different types of fun and remembering what was fun about your relationship before you became the wife, before you became the mother, all those other things. You need to return to those feelings, but also really be honest with yourself about what is fun to you and what you might desire and what you might consider to be fun in your life and your relationship, and embody those things, or just like start praying to have more fun in your relationship, or just like start showing up in a more fun and playful way. You don't need to have a plan for how things need to look for your entire life. Because when you have a plan, you're not focusing on the fun aspects of things. You're not embracing that childlike wonderment that can exist in a relationship that keeps a certain newness. If you have a plan and you get stuck in this idea of what the plan is, then you actually cannot progress forward. The forward trajectory gets stuck often in this relationship. You can have it all. You can have all the happiness in the world, but fun needs to be integrated. The happiness can totally be there in your relationship if you integrate the whore aspect. And when I say whore, I'm not even talking about somebody that's just sleeping around. A whore a whore embodies somebody who just doesn't give a shit, somebody who is strong and empowered within themselves, somebody who can burn things to the ground and be okay with starting over. And I think this is the reason why a lot of men fear the whore, is because the whore is not afraid to leave them. But a lot of men fear the whore and think the whore is going to leave them for another man. But it's like oftentimes the whore is going to leave them for themselves because they are not afraid of embodying themselves fully. And this Six of Cups also means that you need to integrate your inner child and be who you truly are, be your authentic version of yourself. Stop being fake. And stop planning for the future. Live in the moment. Be present. Because if you're present, you might be able to find the beauty and the funness and the new experiences that you could have with your partner and really enjoy each other and really get to a place where you're happy together. You need to stop relying on your partner to take the lead in the relationship, because that oftentimes is very burdensome. A lot of men do like submissive women, but oftentimes a man wants that pressure taken off of them. So sometimes it's good for you to take the lead, where you don't have to be completely submissive to your partner so that they don't feel as if all the burdens of life are on them. And this is what the whore embodies, is somebody that knows how to take the lead in their own life. The whore knows how to have fun in their own life. The whore knows how to take control. The whore speaks their mind. You need to speak your mind. You need to speak your truths. You need to be honest in a way that is also loving. You shouldn't withhold how you feel. You shouldn't withhold your thoughts. You should be willing to speak up for yourself, because this is what the whore does. The whore does not have a problem going against the grain by saying things that certain people might find offensive, but it's also kind because it's telling them the truth. You need to be standing firmly in your truth with this Queen of Swords energy. And again, with this Three of Cups, it's going back to having fun and being playful. You want to make sure that you treat your relationship with your partner as a friend. You need to be able to see them as something other than just your husband. But with a friend, you're willing to try new things and have more fun with them. You're willing to step out of the box. You're willing to bring out that childlike wonderment that your inner child has. So spend more time celebrating and being friendly with your partner so that they can start to transform their idea about who you are. You need to let go of the anxiety surrounding what it means to be a whore. And release your fears surrounding being a whore. Release what you think people are going to think about you about being a whore. Release what your own thoughts about yourself are going to be about being a whore, because the truth of the matter is like, you being a whore for your husband, for your partner, is you being a whore for your husband and your partner. It's not you being a whore for anybody else. That is just strictly between you and your partner. Don't you want to be mutually satisfied in your relationship? That is a question that I have. Because you really can have it all if you let go of the anxiety surrounding becoming a whore. It's not so bad if you let your partner call you a whore. It's not so bad if you let your husband call you a prostitute in your relationship. It's not so bad if your husband refers to you playfully and consensually in potentially demeaning names if it's playful and consensual in the bedroom. It spices things up, and you guys can both be very happy, and things can be solidified within your relationship, within your partnership, where you guys can have a long life and a long legacy together. Just because you are the wife does not mean that you maintain that title. Honestly. And I know that's hard to hear, but you have to think that you have a 50-50 chance of losing that title of wife with your partner. And if you are not having sex with your partner, if you're not open to trying new things with your partner, more than likely you are going to be on the 50% side that loses that wife title. But you can have it all with this 10 of Pentacles and this 10 of Cups here if you're more open to being a whore. This Three of Swords energy is very much giving me I'm getting that, like, some of you guys that are feeling your partner slipping away, there's already a mourning and a sadness about losing your relationship. I'm getting this encouragement that you can turn things around, but you have to act fast, and you have to have open communication fast, and you have to express your feelings fast. You have to be open about how you're feeling and what you really it is that you truly want, and do it without judgment of yourself or the other person, and express what it is that you envision for your future without actually necessarily making plans, but just saying, hey, like, I want to try this new thing. And say, hey, your happiness is important to me too. What is it that you want to try too? Because a lot of you guys who I feel like are going to watch this are already in a place of mourning your relationships because you feel like you already are in that Madonna place. And that you're losing your relationship because you recognize that you're having trouble transitioning into that whoredom. But you can bring it back and still have a future. But you have to get out of your own head with this Eight of Swords here. You have to get out of your own head about who it is that you think you are. Part of your problem is that you have put yourself into your own box and you have kept yourself there. You have to recognize how dynamic of an individual you are and how multifaceted of a person that you are, so that you are willing to try new things and you are willing to be this new version of yourself that also maintains the old version of yourself. You can do all the things. You can be a Madonna and you can be a whore and your husband can still love you. But you have to let go with this Four of Pentacles in reverse. You have to let go of this idea of who you think you are, because you are creating your own mental prison by deciding that this is who I am. Because you can be more than just that. And by putting yourself in a box of who you are causing more harm to your relationship than you need to. That's too many, Spirit. And at the end of the day, you have to recognize what level of reciprocity are you giving to your relationship. If you're not being reciprocal in the sexual energy in your relationship, even just by a little bit, then you're not even being the slightest bit of a whore. You're not even being a baby whore. Then, like, that's a bad sign. You need to consider that. If you're not giving anything for your person to work off of, then it's a bad sign for the future of your dynamic. This is a message that I have for you, Madonnas. Today, I am going to be doing part 2, which is on the horror aspect of things, and I'm going to be doing part 3, speaking to the men who have problems with this Madonna whore complex. So I hope that you will stick around.